to this distinguished audience, a very distinguished biochemist who is highly reputed and almost 2.5 decades of being a professor in that particular discipline. The Deputy Vice Chancellor of Administration, Professor Christopher Osugo. And the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic is a man who combines scholarship with tradition. He is a very distinguished educationist who is a specialist in financial management of educational system. And he's also a distinguished traditional practitioner by every description. He is a palace chief, to call it in a very understandable manner. And he is not, he doesn't shy away from anything tradition, yet he's also a very devout Christian. Professor Victor Igbenereka, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic. As we all know that Benin itself is a place of diverse cultures, and where all the cultures are working all together without any hitch. We also have in the Vice Chancellor's entourage a distinguished professor from Akonosi and the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Ekewa campus, Professor Budami Ayinde. The next principal officer here is the man we call the man of money. He carries money all of his time, and it's still very instructive today that he's a friend to the inaugural lecturer, because they belong to the same field of accounting. The acting boss of this university is Desirous, Mr. Adala. Of course, we have the keeper of our books and scholarly publications, the acting university librarian, Walter Choyo Medicine Esquire. On this other side of the divide is one of our provosts and the Provost College of Postgraduate Studies, Professor David Zeko. We are very gender friendly, and incidentally the person who is holding forth as who is actually the sermon as the host dean today. Women want hostess for a lady, but she's not a hostess, she's a host today, the host dean. The Dean Faculty of Management Sciences, though natural capacity, Professor Mrs. Evairo Osage. We are so sure today that everything will flow. The rain has been the weather has been very clement. So we know it's not going to affect the kitchen. It's not the working day's kitchen. This one is inside the house. Food must be very plenty today with drinks. So you can be sure that the host day will really host us today. Today we also have with us one of the very distinguished professors of this university, the Faculty of Agriculture as the Dean, Professor C.O. Emokaro. The Dean Faculty of Arts is represented today by Professor E.B. Adeleke. The Dean School of Basic Clinical Sciences, Professor V.J. Ekane. The Dean School of Basic Medical Sciences, Professor H.B. Osadolo. And the Dean School of Dentistry, the ever-smiling Professor Mrs. Ize Iyama. The Dean Faculty of Education claims to be the oldest professor in terms of his period in office, Professor Kingsley Omogiwa. The brand new Dean, Faculty of Engineering, who should also celebrate his own deanship. Maybe I don't know whether you were introduced last week, but this time around, the Vice Chancellor is before you. Professor K.O. Obede. Faculty of Environmental Sciences, Professor Raphael Iyube is also here. And also the Dean Faculty of Law, the man who presides over the faculty that has produced our Vice Chancellor. The faculty for the first time having a Vice Chancellor. Professor Bright Bazwaye, the Dean Faculty of Law. The Dean Faculty of Life Sciences, Professor T.O.T. Imobe. The Dean School of Medicine, Professor Winston Osaro-Diago. The Dean Faculty of Pharmacy, Professor Rodaro Igbe. The Dean that his name is always turning my mouth each time I want to call him, and people always wait to listen to my pronunciation. The Dean Faculty of Physical Sciences, Professor E.O. Ayomi. Of course, we have with us today the potent Dean, Faculty of Nursing Science. It must be stressed that it's a new faculty, and instead of having a Department of Nursing Science, we now have a full Faculty of Nursing Science. But when you talk of nursing, you think it's only a female affair. But this time around, we have a man who is also a distinguished nurse, Professor F.U. Okafor, the potent Dean. The potent Dean Faculty of Optometry is also another brand new faculty. Let's give that faculty a round of applause. The woman who was always presiding over admission in this university but has transformed to a dean, Professor Mrs. E. Ogre. That E is called Eki Ogre. Professor J.O. Osaro-Wese is also a potent dean, Faculty of Science Technology, Science Laboratory Technology. We have the representative of Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Dr. R. Okoremo. Of course, we have the Dean, Faculty of Vocational and Technical Education, Professor E.E. Uko Aviamo. I hope the camera will be able to pick them, but when you cannot see them, blessed are those who have not seen, yet to believe. Just believe that. We have the Director of Perform AEC World Bank Center of Excellence, Professor E.S. Omoyege. We have also the Director Center for Gender Studies, Professor Mrs. Lucy A. Okukwara. The Director Center for Part-Time Programs is represented by Dr. E.G. Maju Oyo-Vikoe. And we have the Director Center of Educational Technology, Professor Hassan Oyakina. We have also here in the Vice Chancellor's entourage today a brand new professor of this university who is presiding over the General Studies Unit, Professor Musa Ohomba. Prof, I'm sure that applause is for you to wash your professor to the audience. So we are waiting for Professor Ohomba to wash his professor very soon. Director Center for Continuing Legal Education is a new innovation in the university and is the first in the Nigerian university system to have that particular center to train lawyers after their graduation so that they can be firebrands at the bar. And the new director is Professor D.U. Odike. The Acting Director, Institute of Public Administration and Health Services Management, all the way from Ekewa Campus, Dr. John Osagaya. The Deputy Registrar Senate Matters who led the Vice Chancellor Central, Mrs. C. Adegato. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when the inaugural lecture was was referred to as a professor of taxation. You know what taxation means. In those days when we were young, those who belong to older generation, when the tax collectors were coming, people were always running under. I don't know whether that's still happening up to today. When you talk of tax people, I always remember those things. And those who follow the Bible too also remember Zacchaeus and all the rest of them who are tax collectors. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is not for me to do this bit today, but to come on our distinguished vice chancellor to please present his address on this occasion. Mr. Vice Chancellor.
Inaugural Lecture series at the University of Benin. Today's lecture is the 11th to be delivered in the Department of Accounting. The 16th in the Faculty of Management Sciences, and 17th to be delivered in my tenure as the Vice Chancellor of this great institution. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to introduce our lecturer for today. He is no other person than my good friend, brilliant academic, Professor Ofiafo Eya. The title of his lecture is Unwilling to Die, Yet Desirous of Heaven, Taxpayers, Non-Compliant Behaviour, and the quest for economic development. Professor Ofiafo Eya was born on the 15th day of January 1968 in Odua, the family of late Prince Joseph Eya and Madam Selena Eya of Odua Kingdom, a south-east local government area of Odo State. He had his primary education at Primary School, Odua. We obtained the first school English certificate in 1979. He then attended Ewato Grammar School, and later Odua Secondary School, Odua, to obtain the West African School Certificate in 1984. Professor Eya attended Arch Polytechnic, Auchi, here in Odo State, where he had his national diploma in accountancy in 1988. Thereafter, he gained admission in West of Benin, where he obtained Bachelor of Science degree in accounting, graduating in 7th class upper division in 1995. So we're going to talk about
in the series of the Inaugural Lecture on the University of Benin. My first academic assignment when I came was I was allocated to teach taxation in 400 level. I was assigned to teach that course with the late Professor Ayanoba, who died about 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. May his soul rest in perfect peace. I decided to major in taxation because of my firm belief to contribute my quota towards revenue in Nigeria. Accountants So, but I want to bring in money. So I want to contribute to the national cake. Along that direction, I realized that taxation education is very fundamental in the Nigerian tax system. And I wrote my PhD thesis on tax administration in Nigeria. I'm also a member of the Charter Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, and I work with the Institute in various committees, contributing to the advancement of taxation and national development. Meanwhile, the idea to introduce more programs into the Department of Accounting was conceived by Professor Desirous in 2007, or thereabout, when he came back from Labor of Assets. And he conceived it. I took up the challenge, the responsibility to develop and design that curriculum, that BSc taxation program. Today, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I'm happy to report that we have graduated about 3 sets of graduates for that program. And we are in the process of upgrading that program to a full-fledged department. I wish and I pray that the Vice Chancellor will approve. Transiting from theory to practice. Recently, the federal government, through Mr. Unwilling, the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, appointed me as a commissioner in Tax Appeal Tribunal, South Zone. As I reflect on my academic journey in tax system in Nigeria, I see a promising future. I can assure you that the fiscal architecture of our country is bright. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the title of my lecture is Unwilling to Die, Yet Desirous of Heaven. Taxpayers' compliant or non-compliant behavior and the quest for economic development. To commence this lecture, I decided to look at the responsibility of government. The primary responsibilities of government are the protection of life and properties. Protection of life and properties. And to provide welfare for the citizen. Those are the primary responsibilities of government. And if you look at the Constitution, Section 16, it expressly stated, government should provide suitable and adequate shelter for its citizens. Is there in our Constitution? Government should provide reasonable minimum wage. Government should provide old age care and pension. Government should provide unemployment and sick benefits and the welfare of the disabled. You know, many of us don't read this Constitution. They are there. Go and read it in the Bible and you will see. These are the primary functions of government. Very, very, very important. And if you look at it now, if you look at this function, government is really next to God. Is it really next to God? Because it's only here I'm not saying here. It's only here that is very essential that government cannot provide, which only God can provide. And of course, we talk of the powerful 3 Gs. God, government, and God. And the God is blessed by the government. So government is very powerful. The government also formulate policies. Government formulate policies. Is their responsibility. It's also enshrined in the Constitution to ensure that there is full employment and that there is stability in prices. Year 2012. We call fiscal and monetary policy. The fiscal policy or the monetary policy has to do with the interest rate, exchange rate, volume of money in circulation or in the supply, treasury bills, and all that. Those are the monetary functions of government. And it's normally done through the central bank, the regulates. And then on the second is public expenditure, and the third is public debt. Government use these instruments. So I want to say here, which I always tell people, here is where the government matters. We must appoint capable hands, people with capacity. It's not for loyal people. It's not. We need experts. We need professionals to man this area. And then there should be collaboration between the fiscal policy instruments and experts and the monetary experts. They must work together for the economy to grow. There are issues that necessitate this lecture as far as I'm concerned. Nigerian economy has been characterized by growth without development. Growth without development. We have launched so many programs, Operation Feed the Nation, Green Revolution. We have launched Vision 2000 Housing for All. We have launched Vision 2020. Yet, Nigeria remains undeveloped. Underdeveloped. And it has been recorded that lack of funding and poor implementation impeded the achievement of the objective of this various policy. Until recently, government did not do much. There's no aggressive effort to resurrect tax, except when we had the poor revenue from oil because the oil took over in year 2012. The tax to GDP ratio of Nigeria, which is a measure of tax compliance, is quite low in Nigeria, about 8.5%. And the World Bank says at least a threshold of 15%. So we are nowhere. If you check between Nigeria and other countries, you can see them. Sweden is about 49. The Indonesia, they are still about 49. France is about 45.4. Even America, you say America is very close to heaven. The other man said America is 25.5. Tax to GDP ratio. Ours is just about 8.5. Even our neighbors here, Ghana is 12.5, 30.5. Uganda is 12.1. South Africa is about 24.7. So we are really behind. We have neglected the tax system for so long. There are three what they don't call the tripods of a tax system. One is tax policy, tax law, and tax administration. We have neglected it. In fact, many people are not registered. And then, many persons in the formal sector, they are paying a fraction of their taxes. The informal sector are just out of it. Recently, before the election last year, if you had the British commissioner, she was advising Nigeria that you need to look at your tax to GDP ratio. And that was when they also advised that we need to look at our subsidy and then the foreign exchange policy. She said we have 70 million economically active persons in Nigeria. Out of that number, only 14 million are compliant with taxes. You see the direction. And out of that 14 million, 96% are from those that are deducted at source. Me and you, pay. Of course, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, World Bank database, Desirous annual report is also showing that we have about 110 million of population of our workforce in Nigeria. Out of that 110, only 75.5 by extrapolation, you have 75.7 million that are economically active. Out of the 75.7 million, only 16.4 are compliant. 16.4 million are compliant with us. You see the gyration. So there is a problem. There is a problem. Our tax to GDP ratio is low. We are not attending to it. The objective of this lecture, therefore, is to demonstrate the existence of better relationship between tax compliance and economic development. Especially now, it's very relevant. We have rising and high inflation rates. We have decline from oil, from the problem of insecurity is high. Let me do some conceptual clarification. When we talk about the economy, we are talking about the capacity, the output capacity of a nation. We are talking of the interdependence between the production and consumption of goods. Production and consumption of goods. And then in Nigeria we have about 44 sector of the economy as put together by the Nigerian Bureau of Exchange. The economic growth, we are talking of increase in productive capacity, and then economic development, we are talking of how early in terms of reduction in poverty, in terms of reduction in unemployment, and in terms of reduction in inequality. Earlier America 2018, Biden and earlier 2020 to Darrow and Smith 2009. What is tax? Tax is that money. Tax is that money you contribute to government, you pay to government, it's compulsory payment to government from your income or gain. From your income or gain. Tax does not only affect the bottom line of government, it affects the livelihood of all of us. Because it's from that money the government can provide for all of us. I must say here, tax is not based on losses, it is based on profits. It's not based on poverty, it's based on wealth. It's not paid by the unemployed, it's paid by those that are employed. It's not paid on investment, it's paid on return on investment. So, what are the functions of tax? There are two main functions. We have what we call the primary function, which we all know we call the generation of revenue. Tax is an inexhaustible source of revenue. And then we have the secondary function for regulation of the economy. Redistribution of wealth, discouragement of consumption and harmful goods, encouragement of home industries, planning savings and investment. We use the instrumentality of tax like you see cigarette smokers. It has been written severally that you are liable to die if you smoke, but they are still smoking. The World Bank is telling us we can use simple tax, in quotes. Through tax, we can also discourage those smokers from consuming alcohol too. And then you also talk about biblical injunctions. The Bible is very clear. We all know. Because I know many of us here are Christians. The Bible did not condemn tax. There are about 10 passages of the Bible, 10 books of the Bible, both old and new. The prophets did not go against tax, they didn't speak negatively about tax, but they talk about equity. It should be fair. And then even Jesus Christ said, give to Caesar that belongs to Caesar. So, in fact, I like this section, Matthew 17, verse 27. Matthew was a tax collector, but later God called him, Jesus Christ called him, but he wrote this book, and I like it. You know when they were saying pay tax, Jesus Christ said go and catch a fish, open the mouth, take the money, and then go and pay the tax. So if Jesus Christ did not condemn tax, I should advocate for tax payment. I should advocate for tax payment. And when they talk about the Nigerian Tax Act, Nigerian Tax Administration Act, Nigerian Tax Administration Act, Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Act, and the Joint Revenue Board into productive channels. What do I mean? Year 2015, year 2014, to Darrow and Smith 2009. What we are saying here is that yes, government will not pay tax. Government will have it in form of capital accumulation, capital formation, and then they will now invest it. When they invest such money, the economy will improve. And then we advise that yes, people must pay their taxes. The cause of the matter, unwilling to die, yet desirous of heaven. Death and life mentioned in so many passages of the Bible. Heaven and hell mentioned in different of the Bible. And he said Paul's letter to Hebrew, he said, it's appointed unto men wants to die, but after this judgment, then hell or heaven. Therefore, death is a means And that has been put together by Steve Jobs in 2005. By analogy, the willingness to die or to pay tax by citizens is very low. Yet, the quest for economic development remains high and strong. It is as much as the same way that even when none is willing to die, everyone desires to go to heaven. Raising the nagging question of how can you go to heaven without submitting first to the whole code of death. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I consider it pertinent to ask the following question. How many persons want to go to heaven here? How many persons want to die to get to heaven? In the same day, permit me to ask, how many persons want the economic development of Nigeria? How many persons want to pay tax to bring about economic development? George Thomas said in 1936, tax has been a very controversial issue. In 1936, he said we should order your affairs to reduce your tax liability. And if I see my friends are here, the tax administrators and the tax practitioners, they will do the same. No one wants to pay tax, except because we are looking at the economic of fair theory, which we thought that if the punishment is much, people will not go against the law. Generally, we have seen that yes, tax to GDP ratio is used to measure tax compliance. On the other hand, life expectancy is a broad measure of economic development. Because if you talk of what they call unemployment rate, if unemployment rate is high, income will be high, then the people will not die early. And then you have high life expectancy. It is often said that food waste rate, na money kill am. And so, in my next presentation, I have graphs. We selected about 6 countries, 2 developed countries, and 4 underdeveloped countries. We look at their life expectancy, and then we look at their tax to GDP ratio. Look at it. The blue color bar, the first, is South Africa. You see the GDP ratio, about 24%. It moved from 2013 to 2023. You can see. You see Canada. Canada is about 80, and then it's climbing to 83 average age. Look at Nigeria. Nigeria is just dwarfed. No wonder people are moving out of Nigeria. Again, look at Ghana. Ghana is still better than us. From the graph, Nigeria tax to GDP ratio is abysmally low. Is that not? I cannot fast track the pace of development. And you can see, as tax to GDP ratio was increasing, there was a corresponding increase in life expectancy. There is therefore a nexus between tax compliance. Hold a town hall meeting in my local government headquarters, Subiaja. Call the involved people, put them together. In fact, when you are going as a governor, you will know how bad the road is. You will know what you lack. And then you prioritize, you begin to know they must work on our budgetary system. Even the structure of our budget, and if I'm there, I will change it. I'll change it. Of course, I want to recommend modernization of our tax administration. We need to upgrade our software from tax administration 2.0 to 3.0. With that tax administration 3.0, you don't need to look for the taxpayer. As the taxpayer is carrying out transaction, the system is recording it. So persons presidents we import from Europe and America, they bought at $100 million. They will come and declare that they bought at $10 million. But the system that this 3.0 with 3.0, you don't need them, you don't need their reports. The manufacturer there, his invoice will be already in the system. And then that is what we are going to use to tax this Nigerian businessmen. Because inequality is becoming too much. There is no longer have the middle class. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. I said before from our study, the religious bodies need to be part of the tax compliance campaign. We value religious leaders and their belief. Should make it convenient. I'm happy that the tax laws have been signed, by the president. I am recommending that all political stakeholders, they must be involved in the implementation. All political stakeholders must be carried along. It should not be a one-man show. There should be town hall meetings. There is this tax appeal tribunal where I'm the commissioner, a very fantastic, robust institution. It is where you can complain to. If the tax administrator gives you a tax that is so high, you can come to such an institution and complain. The same way, if you refuse to pay, they also come to complain. It should be strengthened. It should be strengthened. Finally, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I recommend rewards for compliance. Those that are compliant should be rewarded. Especially the workers of Nigeria. But there should be no punishment for non-compliance. Clap for me now. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, let me conclude this lecture this way. Government has so many responsibilities. We have seen. Government is supposed to provide food when you don't have work to do. Government is supposed to provide you shelter when you don't have a house to stay. It's in the Constitution. It's in the Constitution. This what they call them, I don't know, this some of these NGOs. You can take some of these things up. Taxpayers non-compliant behavior poses a significant challenge to economic development. Compliance is the currency. I thank the principal officers of the university. I think this is one of the lectures I have seen a complete, all the support and prayers. To the Honorable Minister of I acknowledge my audience and the village, my audience and the visitors that came to follow with this lecture. May God bless you all for coming.
It is now my singular privilege to respectfully invite the Vice Chancellor, Professor Adoba Omoyede, SAN, to summarize the lecture. Mr. Vice Chancellor.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, could we put our hands together once again for this? Of course, you agree with me that Isaiah demonstrated that he's truly a brilliant academic and is in firm control of his brief as a task expert. Mine is now to give a brief summary of this very engaging lecture. Brief summary of this very engaging lecture. The Inaugural Lecture provides a comprehensive discourse. The Inaugural Lecture provides a comprehensive discourse on the critical intersection between institutions. Lecturer reaffirms government's statutory and constitutional responsibility, including to provide infrastructure, security, and welfare. Specifically, lecturer cites session 16.2, subsection to promote and development. It likens past compliance to a spiritual necessity, yet desirous of heaven, implying that without collective sacrifice through tax payment, national prosperity remains unattainable. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please once again permit me to ask that you clap for the distinguished lecturer. Thank you so much for coming. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor and Leonard Silk. The lecturer will now step forward to be decorated by the Vice Chancellor, and we invite the immediate family members, the wife, the children, brothers, sisters, please come up stage for photographs. And as we do that, we'd like to welcome heartily to the Uniben Aki Deco Auditorium, the very dear wife of lecturer, Dr. Mrs. Bibiana Eya. Please put your hands together. The children, Karis Eya, Karim Eya, Timothy Eya, other family members, Beatrice Ebigi, Ehikioya Eya, Innocent Eya, Obahama, Selumen Lassen. Please put your hands together. We welcome also the Judge of High Court 2 Benin, Honorable Justice W.I. Azebeni. We welcome you, my Lord. We welcome the Chairman of Tax Appeal Tribunal South, Mr. Anselm Onimna. Welcome Federal Commissioners Tax Appeal Tribunal, Elvis Asoro Esquire, Tajuddin Adewale Olayinka, Sunday Aboishade. We welcome very heartily, very specially, the Onoje of Ohodua Kingdom, His Royal Highness Stephen Ehizoje and Rogerio I. Please put your hands together. In the same vein, we welcome the Queen of Ohodua Kingdom, Queen Esohe Ehizoje. Welcome. The Ojomo of Ohodua Kingdom, Chief Jim Oris Oserani, we welcome you. We welcome the ESL of Ohodua Kingdom, Chief Isaac Ikekwame JP. We welcome the newly appointed substantive bursar of the University of Benin, Mr. Sagir Osifo. Welcome, sir. We welcome Professor Emeritus T.O.K. Audu. Welcome Professor Emeritus Osaze. Professor Emeritus Esosa Bob Osaze. Welcome Professor Emeritus Julius Okatua. Welcome MD CEO Goris Nigeria Limited, Prince Godfrey Orirabo. Welcome the Chairman, Goldmark Education Academy, Professor Mike Obadan. We also welcome the Controller, Federal Inland Revenue, Barrister Mrs. Ifeko Mehikai, and staff members of the organization. This is the Vice Chancellor. To just run through the list. Director, Uniben Consult, Professor James Ilaboya, Professor Bani Dolesani, Professor Prince Famous Izedame. Welcome, sir. We welcome Professor Patrick Oseyomo. Mr. Clement Oaha, we welcome you. Professor Chinumba Okafor, we welcome you. Welcome Honorable Sunday and Mrs. Edna Erira. We welcome Professor Mrs. Maureen Ebonyi. We welcome Professor Sir A.C. Ugu, Professor Mrs. Antonia Clark, Professor and Professor Mrs. Uniben Anthem. Please stop serving item 7.